Welcome back to the Vanessa G Fitcast. I'm Vanessa Pozos, and here with me is my lovely co-host and husband, Omar Pozos. And Omar, I'm feeling pretty excited today, about this week because this is the week of our ForeverFit Client Retreat 2023.
2023. Yeah, I'm excited too. There's something about putting yourself in a room that gets you a little bit uncomfortable. There's something about putting yourself in a room with others that are on that same journey as you are, that it just brings the best out of you, right? So when you have the opportunity, like we do every year, and I think we're going to change it up a little bit, but when you have the opportunity to go to an event like that and you get to play all out and get to know others and just build those deep, meaningful connections, to me, it transformed my life. I don't know how you feel about it.
I mean, it always is so rewarding to me every time our clients walk away and they're just like over the moon, excited about their goals and their journey, and they've made new friendships and they've made breakthroughs, and it's so fun. And so honestly, it's like one of my favorite days of the year, having the retreat. But for those who are new here and don't know about that, so we have a program for our highest level clients called ForeverFit, and we offer a retreat exclusive to those clients. So we have 20 clients coming out this year to Tampa Bay, Florida, where we live, and we have an incredible beach house on the beach. We got some clients staying at the house, some clients staying close by in other Airbnbs and hotels, and we're just hanging out in a house all day long, doing some breakthrough sessions, uncovering some really deep things that might be holding clients back from getting the results that they want to see in their body, or helping them process some mindset work that they need to work through, really diving deep into their journeys and just having a blast connecting. It's so much fun.
Yeah, honestly, I don't think you did it justice, but it's a what is it, like an 8-9 bedroom home on the beach with a private chef. We've got, like you said, our training sessions. We've got, board games, pool party. I mean,
our whole staff comes out, all of our incredible coaches and dietitians,
Absolutely.
Our training
it's
expert.
So much fun.
It's such a blast.
Yeah.
But if you can't tell by watching the video by like my giant smile,
we're ready to go party.
I'm just over the moon excited for this week. But today we're going to talk about something completely different on the podcast. So I wanted to address a question that I get really, really just often in the DMs.
What's the question? How beautiful you are?
Oh my God, that was lame.
That was corny. All right, keep it going.
But if you want to keep those going,
or what is it?
That's
what's the other
fine.
question? It's like, did it hurt when you fell from heaven? But yeah, let's keep it going.
Yeah. So what I do get asked more often, besides that one, of course, I get that one all the time. Yeah. Well, I do get asked questions about my feet ever since I put out that reel that showed my feet.
No free fit feet pics.
Oh yeah, we're not doing a feet OnlyFans anytime soon, but I have been asked. But no, the magic question that I do actually frequently get asked, just on social media, on consultation calls all the time, is people are like, I don't know if I'm undereating or I'm overeating. And I just don't even know how to know if I'm overeating or undereating, because I hear obviously all these things about like, don't overeat. And I've been trained my whole life to think like, don't overeat. If you want to, lose weight, you want to be lean, you want to prevent weight gain. But then I'm hearing more and more the possible damage that can occur from undereating, and I don't even know where I fall on the spectrum. Am I overeating? Am I undereating? Am I, Goldilocks? Am I just right there in the middle? So I wanted to address that question today and really help some people out. Hopefully you can walk away from this podcast with clarity of whether you are overeating or undereating, and really understand where you should be in the middle, and we're going to talk all about that.
Yeah, and I think the emphasis on that is it's where you should be, right? It's very, very individualized to the person, their body, their goals, their dieting history. So it's not a one size fits all. And I think that's the biggest thing as we dive into it, to kind of keep reminding yourself a little bit about.
Yeah, great point. But another reason I
appreciate that.
Yeah, you're so smart and handsome.
Keep going.
Yeah,
Well, I know.
Yeah, I'm out.
You get asked about your husband in the DMs too, I'm sure.
Yeah. But so as I was saying, another reason I wanted to address this question is because this is one that I used to actually struggle with back in the day. It's super, super common when you're trying to just change your body on your own, or you're trying to learn about nutrition, you're trying to dial in, your fitness, your health, your body. When you're doing this on your own without a coach, or without a good coach anyway, that actually teaches you these things, it can feel like you just never really know if what you're doing is right. And you're like, I'm doing all these things, but I don't know what is the right thing for me to be doing. And I know I've been there myself. Back when I first started to learn about nutrition and fitness, and really just fell in love with like this whole sport of just evolving your body, I had learned the benefits of eating at what is called maintenance calories. And we're going to talk a little bit more about what maintenance calories are here in a little bit. But I understood, after learning a little bit more that like there's so many benefits to just eating at maintenance calories for both health and body composition. And it was like so enlightening to me of like, oh my gosh, I don't have to diet forever. I can eat at maintenance. I can work out consistently and I will see really incredible body composition changes. And I was like, hell yeah, I'm on board for that. I want to be able to eat more and just like live my life eating at maintenance calories and just be able to like be more relaxed with my diet for once and actually see all these benefits. And I was like, yeah, sign me up. I'm doing this. But then I realized as I got into it that I wasn't really sure if I was actually eating at maintenance calories or not. I did the classic kind of look online, do some like online calculators to figure out what my maintenance calories should be according to Mr. Google. And I was following this amount of calories for a period of time. But like sometimes I just felt really, really full. And I was like, I feel like I'm eating too much. Like this doesn't feel right. Like I feel like I'm actually over what my true maintenance calories should be. And now I'm going to gain weight and now I'm stressing over that. Sometimes I would see the scale go up and like the scale would go up for a couple days even. I'd be like, oh my gosh, I'm not at maintenance. I'm definitely overeating. Like this is a problem. I need to not eat. Like I need to eat less. I'm eating too much food. Sometimes I would notice that I was more bloated. And I'd be like, again, oh my gosh, I'm definitely overeating. Like this is a problem. I'm definitely not actually at maintenance. I'm not going to experience the benefits of eating at maintenance. I'm overeating. But then on the flip side, other times, and this might have all been within the same day, other times I would find myself still feeling hungry despite eating at this alleged maintenance calories. And I'm like, if I'm still hungry, I think that means I should be actually eating more calories than this. My body is telling me I need more. Like, oh my gosh, maybe I'm actually still undereating. Sometimes I felt restricted within kind of that same line. Sometimes I felt hungry. Sometimes it just felt like I didn't have enough calories to work with to eat the kind of things I wanted to eat. And I was like, I feel too restricted for this to be my maintenance. Like this just doesn't feel right.
And you're saying this all sometimes happened within the same week, within the same days, within a couple of days,
it was
right?
Back and forth. I would have these different thoughts. Sometimes I would, like this one was really common for me. Like I would be on social media or I would follow like some YouTubers or something that were like into fitness and they would talk all about their lives and be like, yeah, this girl who's like much smaller than me, like she's, like 5 foot and she was eating hundreds of more calories than I was when she was talking about her maintenance calories. And I'm like, if she's that small and she's eating that amount of calories, then I must be able to eat that amount of calories too. And so I'm thinking like, again, okay, maybe I'm under eating. And so that's where it's just, I had so many question marks. I wanted the benefits of eating at maintenance and I understood the benefits of eating at maintenance calories, but I didn't know if I was actually eating at maintenance calories. I didn't know if I was overeating or under eating. And while I had the back and forth thoughts, most often I found myself stressing out about the fact that I felt like I was probably overeating. Because if I was undereating, I was kind of like, okay, whatever. Like I've always, been leaning towards the sign of being restrictive. If you know my past, I always just wanted to diet. I always wanted to get as lean as possible. So like I was used to undereating. That was a comfortable thing for me. But the concept of potentially overeating was really, really scary. I did not want to be overeating. So I was stressing about that frequently. And I would find myself just having this fear that like, if maybe I'm eating too much, maybe I'm above my maintenance and maybe I'm going to gain weight. And that's a problem.
Can I ask you a question about that? As you kind of went through this whole cycle of sometimes you felt overly full, sometimes you felt like you were eating too much, sometimes you were restricted, you were hungry, you didn't feel like you were eating enough. A lot of what the words that you mentioned just now were, I felt anxious, I felt stressed, I felt, like I didn't know what to do, a lot of frustration. It sounds like, how did that affect like your day-to-day life? Were you constantly like focused on worrying about this stuff? I mean, it sounds like it was quite exhausting, right?
I spent a lot of mental energy worrying about my nutrition. A lot of mental energy. Like it took up a lot of brain space for me.
And I feel like that happens with a lot of the people that we talk to, because instead of them actually enjoying, especially right now, we're in right before the holidays, but instead of them worrying about spending time with their loved ones or being present and actually enjoying the moment, they're focused on, like you said, this thing here. It's like, am I eating enough? Am I being restricted? Am I gaining weight or whatever? And I can imagine it takes a lot of your mental energy, right?
Absolutely. And that's just like part of the cost of trying to figure this stuff out on your own, is it's going to take a lot of space. There's a reason why this is a job for some people. And if you try and do it for yourself, you're taking on a job for yourself, is the reality of it. But like I was saying before, I was always prone to be that person who was like more comfortable with the undereating side of things. Like I knew I probably shouldn't be undereating long term as I was learning more about nutrition, but that was where I like felt the most comfortable. we are nowadays really, really good at helping those exact type of women. So oftentimes the women who come to us for help and often join our programs and, work with our team of coaches and dietitians for help with this stuff, they often find that they have been unintentionally or intentionally undereating for a period of time and I say period of time for a long time. Yeah. Like these are typically the women who they've either gone from diet to diet to diet and they're just like consistently trying to eat less, or they just are super busy. They're really stressed. They have a lot going on in their lives. They don't realize that they're undereating. They might think, these are the women who are asking me, like, I don't know if I'm undereating. I don't know if I'm overeating, because we often then start to get confused where there are periods of time where we do overeat, like acute periods where now we, find ourselves at the end of the night in the kitchen, like in the pantry, just like digging into all the snacks because our body's trying to make up for the fact that we've been under eating. Or we find ourselves going out to eat with people and probably overeating, going to parties, probably overeating, over drinking. So that's where now they're developing these types of issues. They're developing a slow metabolism because of all the ups and downs. They're developing hormonal imbalances, gut issues, and of course, couple that with this restrictive mindset of food, of them thinking, I need to restrict, I need to eat less if I want to lose weight. And they're just in this recipe for just kind of disaster with things. So now they're really confused of like, I'm hearing that there's a lot of damage that can be done by undereating. I hear you. I'm afraid of overeating.
Terrified, really.
Like, I don't even know where I fall in the spectrum of, am I eating the right amount? Am I overeating and I'm going to gain weight? Or am I undereating and I may also gain weight? Like, it's not good to be on either end of the spectrum.
And I want to highlight for a second there, Ness, about what you just said. I think it's very important for us to kind of give a little bit of that space for people to understand that, like, it's okay to be scared. I mean, it is terrifying for somebody to be like, you mean I need to eat more, but I'm seeing the scale go up. I'm seeing my clothes don't fit. Like, of course it's scary. And I totally get that. But to your point is, when we do tend to undereat or stay in that period where we're not eating as much because of that fear, it does lead to a lot of these issues, whether it's with your metabolism, your hormones, and it ends up doing more harm than good, right?
Yeah, exactly. But I feel like we need to, before we move on any further, we need to clarify some terms here. So obviously we're talking about undereating and overeating. We need to really get clear on what that actually means.
I like that.
To be undereating, to be overeating, or to be, at maintenance. So undereating, theoretically, this could mean, we could use this term to refer to like anything less than maintenance. This could be considered undereating. But really, if you are eating less than your maintenance calories, the amount of calories that you can, we'll dive deeper into this in a minute, but the amount of calories that you can maintain your weight on, that would be called a calorie deficit. Now, being in like a normal, healthy calorie deficit for a period of time is a good thing. But if somebody is in a deep calorie deficit, or they just accidentally are eating in a big deficit from their maintenance calories for a long time or a period of time, like they're just never coming up to maintenance, then that is what we consider undereating. You are not eating enough food. So like, just to throw out easy numbers, if you're supposed to maintain your weight at around 2,000 calories, if you're consistently eating 1,500, just on and on and on and on, you're never going up to 2,000, you are undereating. Like that is not going to be good for your body. Now, overeating is like, if we kind of put this on the flip side, theoretically, we could use overeating to just refer to any amount of food over your maintenance calories. So again, like easy numbers, if you're supposed to maintain at 2,000, then theoretically, technically, anything over 2,000 could be considered overeating. But the term overeating is typically more so used if you either are just someone who you consistently are eating like well above your maintenance, which would be considered more so a calorie surplus. But if you're consistently doing that without intention, so you're not actually in a calorie surplus, like, okay, I'm eating in a surplus so that I can gain muscle. I'm in this lean muscle gaining phase. That's a specific intentional phase that you're in. But if you are just overeating because you just don't really know about nutrition, you just don't have education, and you just, maybe your hunger hormones are a little bit weird and out of whack, that can happen with hormonal imbalances, you're probably going to find yourself overeating consistently. But with women, and specifically the types of women we talk to, and honestly, probably you, if you're listening to this podcast, most often I hear overeating in the acute sense of like, I overate this weekend. I feel like I just am really full. I feel like really just gross and bloated and disgusting in my body. Like I feel like I'm just eating too much food. Maintenance now on the other side of things, like this is more where, like I talk about, this is like our Goldilocks, like we found our like just right there in the middle. So maintenance is the amount of calories you actually can maintain your current body weight on within a range of about 3 to 5 pounds. So when I say maintain your current body weight, I'm not saying you're going to maintain exactly at one singular number. I'm saying you're going to be within a range of a number. So maintenance is truly a range. It's like between 3 to 5 pounds, typically more on that 5 pound window for women because we do have just general fluctuations throughout the month. Maintenance, I want to get clear here, does not mean you are giving up on your body composition goals or you're just like letting yourself go and just being like, you know what, I'm just going to maintain here. I'm not going to make any progress. But I really want to address this because I think a lot of women just hear the word maintenance and they're like, like I don't want to be at maintenance. I don't want to maintain. I don't want to like stay the same. Like I want to get better. I want to improve my physique. I want to lose fat. I want to have these changes. And what I had kind of alluded to earlier in that story about myself, where I first was like kind of drawn to the idea of let me just eat at maintenance calories for a while, is the fact that body recomposition often happens at maintenance. You can have incredible changes in your physique eating at maintenance.
Can you talk a little bit more about that, Ness? Because I think you're so right when it comes to the word maintenance. For some reason, it just sounds boring. It sounds blah, right? Which whatever. I mean, I'm the same way.
It needs a rebrand.
We need a rebrand. We need a marketing genius.
Let's just change maintenance to be something cool. Like it's.
I don't know.
I can't come up with anything. If you come up with something, shoot it over to me.
Yeah. But seriously, I mean, I think you're right. When it comes to maintenance, it's not just about, oh, screw it, I'm going to go eat, pizza and ice cream every single weekend and I'm maintaining, quote unquote. It's more so, we still have to have a little bit of awareness so that you can still fuel your body to the best of your ability so that you can maintain your weight, but also have all of the added benefits, all of the components that come with it. But yeah, can you talk a little bit more about why, I guess, make maintenance sound sexy for us, if you don't mind.
Let me give the spin on maintenance.
Maybe this is what we need to do every single time.
Yeah,
just put on your sexy voice.
Let's really gift the brand of maintenance.
Have at it. Make sexy maintenance again for us, will you?
Yes. So
that should be a hat, I feel like, or a
make
t-shirt.
Sexy maintenance.
No, make maintenance sexy.
Yeah.
Again.
We're too giddy right now. We're too excited for this.
Again, like Trump, but without getting political.
Yeah, let's not go there. So let's talk a little bit here about maintenance. So maintenance is, like we were saying, like maintenance is awesome because you can do a lot at maintenance. So like you were just saying of like, it's not necessarily like, okay, just let yourself go completely of like, oh, now I can eat anything and everything without any awareness.
Let me just go eat whatever I want.
But maintenance is when you have the room now to eat like those, like if he mentioned the pizza and ice cream, you can have the pizza and ice cream at maintenance more easily than you can when you are under eating or eating in a calorie deficit because you're eating more calories. You're giving your body the right amount of fuel that it needs to keep everything on track and all your systems firing. And when we are eating at that maintenance calorie point, typically if you along with like other things, like it's not necessarily just eating at maintenance, there's probably other things that need to happen too in order for this, but like your hormone health will definitely improve because you're fueling your body appropriately, you're getting it the right nutrients it needs, your gut health can improve tremendously. So it's like you're already going to be feeling leaner overall. If your hormone health improves and your gut health improves, you absolutely are going to be feeling leaner because it's going to change everything about the way that you look. You're going to even just like within your face, you're going to look differently. But now when you're eating at maintenance, you're actually giving your body enough fuel to support the process of muscle building.
That's one of my favorite ones.
Yeah. So it's like, that's where what I was alluding to earlier of like, okay, I just want to hang out at maintenance and just, be consistent with my workouts and see what happens, is because you can have incredible body recomposition eating at maintenance and strength training. When you pair those two things together, what typically ends up happening is while yes, your weight stays about the same, you can gain some lean muscle, and that lean muscle is going to work for you to burn body fat. So now you're essentially swapping body fat for muscle to where you're about the same weight, but you look different. You just like like literally think about what your body is made up of, shift some of the body fat for tighter muscle, you're going to look absolutely different.
I like the word tightness and toneness because that's literally what it becomes. Like the scale can stay at, like for me, I'm 185, 186 right now. But the scale can stay the same. And if you're adding muscle, like your clothes fit better, they fit looser, your arms, your legs, everything gets a little bit bigger, a little bit toned, a little bit more, I guess, muscular. But like you said, the scale doesn't necessarily change, which isn't a bad thing.
Yeah, that's why really eating at maintenance is typically a big portion of our metabolic reset. Is we're trying to typically get women to that maintenance calorie point so that we can start to see these benefits kick into place. Because now your metabolism is firing up because now we're starting to get some muscle there. Our hormone health is in a better spot. Our gut health is in a better spot. You have energy overall. You're going to have more energy because you're giving your body enough fuel. And when you have more energy, without even trying, you are inherently going to be more active.
Yeah.
Like I was literally just thinking about this morning I'm like, God, I have so much energy right now. And I was like, I had listened to like a reel that you had, or like a Instagram story that you put out with like a really good music tune to it.
I have great music taste. Yes.
Yes, you do. But it was like playing over and over again in my head. And so there was literally no music actually playing besides what was going on in my head. And I was just like dancing around the kitchen. I'm like, God, I just feel so good. Have so much
Do you
energy.
want to give us a rendition on live right now?
No. I'm going to hard pass.
Can I jump on that one too, though? When I did something very similar where I wanted to put on a little bit more muscle. So over this past winter, I really worked with our coach, Kat, to bring up my calories to maintenance. And then I went into a surplus, so on and so forth. But anyways, that was the biggest thing for me. I went from, and I never really loved coffee a whole lot. I think you kind of put that habit on me. And then I became a Starbucks fan afterwards. But yeah, I was drinking a cup of coffee a day, maybe like a diet Dr. Pepper in the afternoon here and there. So
you were big on energy drinks before workouts,
yes,
pre-workouts.
C-Force, all that stuff. I love that stuff. I was guilty of that. But when I started, eating more and fueling my body the right way, that was the biggest thing where I told Kat I went from regular coffee to decaf coffee. I took away the sodas in the afternoon just because I felt so much better. And then right now, I'm not drinking any caffeine at all. I'll do an occasional matcha probably every other day or every so on and so forth. And then I'm drinking caffeine-free pre-workout. So like there's just so many changes that have come from it. And then again, like you said, I just felt so ready to go. Like there was no energy crash during the day. And it all came from, again, the food that I was eating or the amounts really, which was crazy.
Yeah. And when you have that kind of energy, you are going to just be almost like accidentally moving a little bit more to where now it's like, because maintenance calories, it really is a little bit of a range. It's not like just one exact caloric point that you have to eat every day to maintain. Like it's a little bit of a range because obviously we move a little bit differently from day to day, but you'll find yourself more consistently moving just a little bit more as you have more energy, which puts you into that place where now you're eating the same amount of food, but you're losing fat because you are just being a little bit more mobile, more active, just like actually moving around and doing more with your life. But you also will find that body recomposition will just show up on you because of the way your body is starting to store and use energy. So when we're eating at maintenance, we have room now to actually fill up our muscles with what is called glycogen. Glycogen is essentially the storage form of carbohydrates. So when you're giving your body enough carbs, your body is going to take some of that and actually store it in your muscles, which gives you a little bit more of that like lean toned, like actually more defined look. That can be the difference
like
between
the pump, basically, right?
Yeah, it can be the difference between being like I'm working out all the time and I just not seeing any changes in my body, and actually then being like I'm working out less and now I can actually see that like my shoulders are popping a little bit, like my my arms are looking tighter, like my legs are looking tighter, like being able to see that kind of stuff. Because
whenever you said that, I'm looking at my arms. I'm like, oh man,
am I looking tighter?
I'm like, my shoulders are popping.
And then, the other thing I want to hit on here too, and I kind of mentioned this a little bit when I said your digestion can absolutely improve, your gut health can improve, but you will likely be more regular when you're eating at maintenance. If you have been undereating for a prolonged period of time, you probably also have been someone who maybe struggled with constipation a little bit, or just maybe have not been as regular as you should be. And you might not even be aware of what I mean when I say should be, because that might have just been your normal. Where now, when you're eating at maintenance, you're going to be pooping more and it's going to feel good because you're going to be clearing yourself out and you're going to be like, wow.
Why do you laugh when you say the word poop?
Because somebody's listening to this with their child in the car, and the child is
Mom,
like, "Woo!"
That girl just said poop.
Yeah. But so you're going to feel leaner as you are more regular too. So like there's so many different ways where you can notice body recomposition start to happen through this process of eating at maintenance. And it can be slow, it can be subtle, but I'm telling you, the thing is hanging out at maintenance, like this is where you should be the majority of your life. You shouldn't be in a diet and then, maybe in maintenance for a little period of time and then back into a diet. Like you should be eating at maintenance for the majority of your life, which means it should feel easy. This is the amount of food that your body wants and needs to where you are going to feel your best eating at maintenance. So it should feel like something that you can actually maintain from just eating intuitively, which is something that we teach our clients in our ForeverFit program as well, is how to get to that place where now they are at a place where they're really happy with their body composition. It's like, all right, let's learn how to maintain this eating intuitively so that you never have to worry about, am I overeating or undereating again? You can actually just eat the right amount of food for your body and listen to that, and it feels easy. And how amazing would it be to be like, wow, this feels really, really easy, and I'm seeing changes in my body the longer I just stay at this. Like, we all want that, right?
Yeah,
and that is maintenance right there.
If you go through some of the benefits you just added or you just threw at us, kind of like hormone health, gut health, you have the fuel to support muscle building, you have muscle that's going to speed up your metabolism, you have energy, glycogen levels, you're going to be more regular, you're going to poop more often. If you could like bundle that up and give it to somebody in a pill, how much would people pay for something like that? Because it's amazing, right?
Yeah.
And the cool thing is you don't have to get a pill. You don't have to depend on anything. It's just more so, can we just fuel your body appropriately for a certain amount of time so that you can reap the benefits, you can reap the rewards of it. That's what makes, I think, maintenance sexy, or that's what I think maintenance, that whoever came up with the marketing term didn't do it justice.
I don't think it was a marketing term. I think it's a scientific term.
Oh, fair. All right. Well, those scientists cannot, sometimes they're not that sexy. So.
Yeah. Sorry, scientists. But, eating at maintenance, really what it means to be eating at maintenance consistently, it means that you understand the balance of actually taking breaks from dieting. You understand how it actually makes fat loss easier when you do take that break and you do eat at maintenance. And then we can go back into focusing a little bit more on fat loss, being in that calorie deficit, and you're going to see amazing results without threatening your health. Whereas so many women just stay in that calorie deficit forever, like diet, and they just aren't seeing any results anymore. Their health is getting worse. They have lower and lower energy and they're not feeling good. It's because you got to take that break and eat at maintenance. Maintenance, in my opinion, the women who are like readily just like, yeah, I want to hang out at maintenance. These are the women who know that dieting isn't this badge of honor. Like, it's not like, oh, I hang out with my friends and I'm talking about which diet I'm on. And I'm like, oh no, I don't eat that. Like, that's too many calories for me. Like, these are the types of women who are like, yeah, I want to be strong. I want to feel good. I want to have energy. I want to show up powerfully in the world. And I know that it's not a way to live, to just be on a diet and be restricting food forever. Like, nobody wants to live like that. They also understand that like you got to be committed to protecting your internal health. And that's a big one with eating at maintenance. If you are consistently undereating, or, if you're on the end of the spectrum where you're consistently overeating, either one of those are going to be damaging to your internal health over the course of time. And if you are somebody that you're like, I'm just so focused on my physique that I just want to diet forever, you are going to damage your internal health to where it's going to affect your physique anyway.
You're going to burn yourself out.
We got to focus on that internal health first and foremost. That is the foundation for everything else. And if you want results that last, maintenance is the way to get there. It's going to keep you from going down that cycle of like, just losing and regaining that same 10, 15, 20 pounds over and over and over again, just going from like diet to falling off the diet, fall off the diet, and you just are forever stuck in that hamster wheel of losing the same weight. Actually taking the time to learn how to eat at maintenance is going to prevent that from happening. So your results from those times where you do diet down, you are going to have results that actually last. And I think the biggest thing also for me, like women who understand the beauty of eating at maintenance, they know that like getting these types of results, it's not about instant gratification. This is not the type of woman who's like, yeah, I need everything today or otherwise I'm just not, I don't care. Like I have to see results today or otherwise like I'm not motivated. These are the types of women that know that patience and understanding the long game is going to get you way better results. And if you don't get distracted by everybody else around you who's like, I'm going to take this diet pill, I'm going to take this, weight loss medication. I'm going to do all these different things to lose 30 pounds in 30 days. If you can not get distracted by that and you're like, I'm in this for the long run because I want long-term results that actually last. And when, 3 years from now, I am just a completely different person. Whereas my friends at that point are still losing and regaining the same weight and probably have given up at that point because their bodies stopped responding. They are going to then look to me and be like, what did you do? And be like, I've just been eating at maintenance this whole time.
Yeah. And I think that's the beauty of everything, right? It's more so, can you just sit down for a second? And the harsh reality of things is you didn't get here by, dieting by having the habits that you did have for the last 3 months, the last 30 days, the last 90 days, whatever. It took time to get here. And if you're stuck in this hole, there's really, like you said, one way or there's two ways to kind of get out of it. We can take the easy route or we can take the slow and steady route that actually gives you those long-term sustainable results. So that's what you have to just kind of sit back and understand. It's, there's really, it didn't take a little bit of time to get here, and it's not going to take a little bit of time to get out of it, right? So that's the harsh reality that we need to face. And ultimately, you just kind of, for me at least, I'm like, I just have to suck it up and understand that I need to build a strong foundation. In this case being necessarily, if I need to go to maintenance so that my body can improve my metabolism, improve my hormones, and get me out of this cycle of losing and regaining the same weight over and over, and actually build upon something that's sustainable and gives you long-term results. But it's hard. It's a hard conversation to have even within yourself kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. I know you had kind of went through a little bit of this realization through your own experiences with gaining muscle. Talk about that a little bit. What was that like for you?
Yeah. So without taking, too much of a rabbit hole here, I have, between the time I got out of school, I went through CrossFit diets, everything. I've lost probably about 60 pounds and kept it off. But part of the reason that I found through it was, I was very much into CrossFit, working out 2 times a day, eating very, very little. And sure, that gave me the results, but it only gave me the results for a very short period of time. And what I mean by that is the minute that I couldn't keep up with working out twice a week, couldn't keep up with eating 1,300 calories, even as a guy, which as a guy, it's very, very little. I gained the weight back plus some. So then I rebounded and I gained probably another 10, maybe 20 pounds off of that. But the cool thing that I've seen, and like I mentioned earlier, I have worked with Kat, our coach, that, and she's really we've really focused on, first and foremost, I want to build more lean muscle, right? And in order for me to do that, I had to eat a little bit more to give my body the fuel, the resources it needed to be able to build upon that. So the cool thing that I've seen, and the biggest difference for me now that I'm on the other side of things and I'm actually trying to lose a little bit of that weight that I put on by eating in a surplus. I wasn't just at maintenance, I was actually eating a little bit more. Now I am able to work out 2 at most, sometimes 3 times a week, 45 minutes or so. But I'm able to still lose the weight that I want, but not feel restricted. And what I mean by that is, I think, just to give everybody some perspective, I think I was eating at 2,800, and right now I'm eating at 23, 24. So I've really only cut 300-400 calories back, and I'm seeing the changes that I want to see. I mean, I've lost probably about 15 pounds by just cutting that much. In the last couple of weeks. So that's been the biggest changer for me. It's, having that foundation, having your metabolism work for you, not against you, having that lean muscle mass. First and foremost, that's what has been so crucial, because now my intention is to be able to maintain, maybe sit here for a little bit, but just reap the benefits of all of that hard work that I put in, right? And at times, I'm not going to lie to you, eating a lot or eating more than I was used to, sure, it felt like a lot, but then I looked at it from the other perspective, and this is where Kat really helped me change my perspective, because then she was like, hey, remember when you said you wanted to have some pancakes for breakfast? She's like, now's the time to add it. She's like, remember when you said you wanted to, I don't know, add some couple of different variety of foods or juice into your diet, little things that have a good bit of calorie dense foods. She's like, now's the time to add that. And I just enjoyed the process so much more. I personally, I think I improved my relationship with food even more. And now, like I said, I'm on the other side of things because I've built the right foundation of knowing how to best fuel my body for those months. And now I can reap the benefits and continue to build upon it. Does that make sense? I know I kind of
yeah. Well, mean, for our listeners too, of like he was kind of referring to, he was at maintenance and then he actually went above maintenance into what we were saying of that calorie surplus. So it's like, again, maintenance is where your body weight's going to stay the same. But if you stay there for a period of time, you're eventually going to see that as long as you are training and eating, well and consistent, you're going to notice that your body is going to start to swap some of that body fat for muscle. So that's where it's like your weight stays the same, but your body composition changes. A calorie surplus, when doing it intentionally and in a controlled way with a really great strength training program and just being intentional about the calorie surplus, that's where what Omar did is now you're going to add weight, because now we're in a calorie surplus, we're adding body weight, but that body weight is going to mainly be muscle mass. It is also going to be some body fat, which is why not a lot of women like to hang out in the calorie surplus range. It's typically something more so that men like to do, but you will gain a lot more. It's like basically like the fast track of, okay, now I'm adding a lot more muscle. And then you can do like what Omar did. So now we go back below maintenance into now a calorie deficit. And now he's going to keep the muscle that he added during that time being in a surplus, but lose the body fat he added during that time in a surplus.
And one thing I didn't talk about was just how big of a difference having CAP made for me, because I didn't have to, guess and guesstimate, is this surplus for me? Am I in maintenance? Am I in a surplus? Am I in a deficit? Like, what is going on? Like, she just very much was like, all right, based upon your body, based upon your eating, she gave me all of my numbers and I just had to go out and execute. And that was the biggest for me, because I don't have the time or the effort to be able to putting into this stuff.
Exactly. Yeah. But I mean, really, I just really want to hit this home for the ladies who are listening. They're like, I probably have been on that path of undereating. Like, that's probably where I'm at. And I'm like, just don't know for sure yet. And I'm going to answer for you in a minute of like the true question, are you overeating, undereating? We're going to give you that answer. But I just want to drive this home that if you are someone who's been chronically dieting, chronically undereating, just going from diet to diet to diet, that is very, very similar to being someone who's like, I'm going to run these half marathons, but I'm not going to sleep at night. I'm going to pull an all-nighter and I'm going to go run this half marathon. That would be crazy, right?
Crazy.
But the reality is that's what it's like going into a diet and a diet and a diet without taking time at maintenance. You're not giving your body that chance to rest, and you're not letting your metabolism recover. Because going into a calorie deficit, even if you're doing it the right way, even if it's controlled and, maybe you're working with a coach and you've gone through this diet period like really efficiently in not too deep of a calorie deficit, doing things the right way. But if you stay there and you don't learn how to go back to maintenance, you are eventually going to just dig yourself into the ground, and you're going to be like that person who is trying to run their half marathon without, a little bit of sleep at all. Like, that's not a good place to be in. So don't put your body in that position. Sleep a good 8 hours before you run your half marathon, and make sure you do a successful time at maintenance calories before you go into a calorie deficit. So, all right, let's answer the question that everybody has been hanging around here for 30 plus minutes to find out. Are you undereating, or are you overeating, or are you Goldilocks? Are you just right? Are you at maintenance calories? So what you need to do to figure this out, if you're on your own, you're like, I got to get this figured out. I don't have a coach to help me and just tell me what I should be eating and explain this to me. Track your food for a full 7 to 10 days, at least 7 days. Just track your food. You can go in MyFitnessPal. That's the app that I typically recommend because it's just super, super easy.
It's free.
Yeah. Don't set any calorie goals. It's gonna try and get you into their dieting scheme. Don't set any calorie goals. You're only using this for awareness. Track everything that you eat and drink. So if you're drinking alcohol, if you're drinking juice, whatever it is, track those things for a full 7 to 10 days, and then take what is your average over the course of those 7 to 10 days of what your calories were. So every single day you can look at, on MyFitnessPal, makes it easy to look at a full week view and it'll tell you your average, or you could just total up the calories and, do the math to find the average. That is going to be what you are currently eating at. So now you know where you're currently at. Now you need to figure out what you theoretically, quote unquote, should be at. So most healthy women, I do want to throw this out here because we're going to talk about how to calculate it, but I do just want to preface this that most healthy adult women, in my experience, and I've worked with about 1,000 women at this point, but most healthy adult women can, in my opinion, maintain around on the low end, 1,900 calories, but typically around that 2,000 to 2,500 calorie mark. most, especially if you are healthy and active, like you're definitely can maintain over 2,000 calories. So if you think that your maintenance calories is less than 2,000, you are probably wrong unless you're a very small human. So that being said, if you already have calculated like from that average and you know that your average is like 1,700, you can already answer the question that yes, you're under eating. But we still need to figure out how much you theoretically should be eating so you have a target to work towards if you do want to experience these benefits of eating at maintenance calories. So now, in my opinion, these numbers really should be individualized to each woman. This is why when you're working like with our coaching team, we use a lot of different factors. We use several different calculations as well as just our own kind of experience to really understand like where these women should be eating at. But, we're going to take into account your height, your weight, and your age are like the most basic things. But somebody who's like the exact same height, weight, age, and activity level could still be maintaining higher or lower than you based on their hormones, based on just their genetics, like different things, different factors there. So that's where I'm saying of like the calculation is going to give you an idea, but it's not going to be perfect. And I'm going to tell you how to like more perfectly find it. But go on, I think it's called tdee.com. If it's not exactly that, if you Google it, you should find it.
I'll Google it while you're talking.
Yeah, so tdee.com. That should give you a little bit of a calculator to figure out what your TDEE, which stands for total daily energy expenditure. It should calculate that for you and give you what your maintenance calories is. It might not say the word maintenance calories. It might just say total daily energy expenditure. Those two terms are interchangeable. It's the same thing.
It might be tdeecalculator.net. Is that the one that you want?
Yes, that's it. So tdeecalculator.net. I was going off of memory, so I apologize. I'm probably like confusing people that are trying to.
I pulled up another website in like Spanish. I was like, I don't think that's
not right. So TDEE, it's hard to say that. Calculator.net is where you can go, and it'll give you an idea based on just like a calculation. But just remember, this is technology giving you a calculation. It's probably not going to be entirely perfect, but that can be kind of where you shoot for. Then once you get to that point, and now you're like, okay, here I am. I'm eating at this estimated maintenance calorie point. What I would recommend you do from there to most optimally figure out what your maintenance should be, you got to kind of trust the process a little bit, but just track at that maintenance calorie point for a while. Also track your weight and your energy levels. Like you could do this daily. Like if you want to just step on the scale every single morning when you get out of bed, you just track your weight every single day, track your energy levels every single day, like on a scale of 1 to 10, how's my energy today? Track your hunger levels on a scale of 1 to 10, and just do that daily for a period of time and see what changes. So if over the course of a couple months, and yes, I'm saying months because us ladies, we have cycles. And so over the course of 1 month, we're going to see that fluctuation of 5 pounds, and it can be confusing when you're like, oh my gosh, my weight's going up. And then you're like, oh wait, it came back down again. So we got to let the ups and downs kind of equal out and see if you are staying within that 3 to 5 pound weight range. If so, then you are likely at maintenance. But why I also like you to just very simply track your hunger and your energy is because if you were previously under eating, and probably the same if you were overeating, once you're at that maintenance point, you're going to notice your energy is probably improving. Especially if you just historically have had lower energy. If you're eating at maintenance for a couple months, you should notice that your energy levels are getting better. I mean, I also want you to track your hunger because eating at maintenance, theoretically, you should feel like you have pretty stable hunger levels.
More satiated.
Initially, and I really want to make this point clear too, if you have been under eating, then initially you're probably going to feel really full. You might feel actually like uncomfortably full. It might just take your digestion a little bit of a period of time for you to adjust to eating more food and for you to get used to that and for your body to actually be able to process that efficiently. So again, don't get distracted by feeling like, oh my gosh, but I'm a little bit bloated, or oh my gosh, I feel a little bit fluffier. Like just let things level out, give it a period of time, and then you'll be able to see if you're at maintenance. If you do that for a period of time and you are losing weight over that course of time, like the scale is consistently going down, then you actually still are below your maintenance. You could actually bump it up. Maybe try bumping it up 100 calories, maybe 150. If you are gaining weight, and remember that 3 to 5 pound range, if over the course of a couple months, you are you're not staying within the 3 to 5 pound range, you are consistently going up and up and up, then you might be above maintenance. And there might be other issues going on, like hormonal imbalances, because sometimes we can be gaining weight at maintenance just because our hormones are off and things like that.
Yeah. And if I can add too, for the listeners out there, you guys, like Vanessa mentioned here, we're not just tracking a scale, right? The scale is just a data point. When it comes to this whole process, that's why you were saying test your hunger levels, your energy, check and see periodically where your body's is and how it's feeling every single day, because there's so many biofeedback markers too that come into play that are important. And that's why I think working with a coach is so important when it comes to this stuff, because it's not as easy as like, oh, I'm just going to eat more, I'm just going to eat less, or, this is working, this isn't working. It's a work in progress. And along the way, some days you might have days where you're not perfect. You're not hitting the goals where you need to be because life got in the way or because you got busy. But that's where having somebody in your corner that can help teach you and really guide you through this is so helpful, because it's not as simple as like, I'm just going to eat more, I'm going to eat less, and my body's magically going to, do all of these things. Everybody's a little bit different. Everybody has had different dieting histories, different situations that really either make or break them when it comes to doing this stuff,
Yeah. And the other point I want to make clear as well too is, remember, maintenance calories, it's really a range. So I would give you about like a 100 to 200 calorie range, to where like if you have a target, if you're like, okay, I am aiming for, again, we'll do 2,000 because it's simple math, but 2,000 is typically on the lower end for a lot of people. If you're aiming for 2,000 calories, that does not mean that every single day you need to be eating exactly 2,000 calories. You could be eating, 1,900 one day. You could eat 2,100 the next day. You could be, 1,850 one day. You could be 2,150 the next day. Like, as long as we're staying within, like, I would say on the high end, 200 calories either direction, you're going to average out at 2,000 calories. Yeah, you're going to be okay.
Average. That means
if you're aiming for 2,000 and every single day you're eating 2,100, 2,200, then you're not actually eating at 2,000. So you need to keep that in mind when you're trying to figure out what your true maintenance calorie point is. Like if you started to gain weight, but you were aiming for 2,000, but realistically you were eating like 2,200 every day, then you might just need to actually aim for 2,000.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that wraps it up. But I hope that this gave a lot of clarity and a lot of just good takeaways for you ladies out there who have been asking yourself, am I overeating or am I undereating? And I know there's a lot of just ifs, ands, buts, like a lot of questions that come up through this process. So like, what if this, what if that, or like different things like that. Don't be afraid to just shoot me a message on Instagram. I'm always more than happy to help people out. There's been a lot of women who have never even worked with us, but I've helped them get results just by answering some of their questions in the DMs. And then later they'll send me like their progress photos and be like, look what I did. So that always makes me really happy too. So please don't be afraid to reach out and ask any questions that you have.
Otherwise, we've got amazing trainings. We've got all of these videos and stuff in our free Facebook group. It's the Women's Metabolism Secrets. So if you guys are interested in that too, the link will be in the show notes. Jump into that. And if anything, you get to learn from our coaches on a weekly basis and just pick apart all the resources and continue to learn and just be able to make sure that this is working for you, your body, and ultimately what you want to do.
Yeah, all the free stuff. Well, thank you so much for listening. We'll be back next week with another free and awesome podcast episode.
See you guys.